I am now joined by UFC Flyweight Kai Kara France. You're taking on Brandon Royval, UFC 253 in September. How's everything going for that fight, man?
Everything's going well. I'm currently living at my gym at City Kickboxing in Auckland, New Zealand. I've been living here for the last 2 weeks with my teammates, Israel, Brad, and Shane, who are all sharing the same card as me for UFC 253. Preparation's going good. When you're living at the gym and you have so much time with Eugene, our head coach, we can really pay attention to the details of our opponents and really get some solid work. And I feel like I'm in Dragon Ball Z right now when they go into that hyperbolic chamber, and I'm coming out, a new man. So we've got another few more days here, 5 more days, and then we can at least go back home and do our normal training camp. But everyone's just elevated to that next level, and I just can't wait to get in there. It's been so long since I've fought. February was my last fight for UFC Auckland in my hometown, so I'm just itching to get back in there.
Now, the choice to live at the gym, is that a precaution to stay away from everybody else, kind of your own bubble, or is that just because of the focus on the training? Talk about that choice. Is it a COVID thing, or is it to get more intense with your training?
Now, this was a COVID thing. So in New Zealand, the Prime Minister announced that Auckland, the city that I live in, is going into level 3, which means you have to stay home and remain in your bubble. So quick thinking, Eugene said pretty much get your mattress, get your bed, get your training gear. You guys are all moving into the gym, and he moved into the gym as well. So best case scenario, best place to be right now is just eat, sleep, repeat, and just live at the gym. So it's actually been pretty cool. Pretty cool. We've all bonded and got closer. We're already around each other all the time anyway, but now you're around each other 24/7. So you learn who can cook, who can't, who gets on your nerves, who snores. But no, it's a good time, and we're getting in quality work.
Now, your opponent, Brandon Royval, experienced, of course, 11 wins, 7 by submission, but only 1 fight in the UFC. Is it the kind of opponent that it's easy to overlook? In the past few UFCs, we've seen some big upsets. Do you think a lot of fighters overlook their opposition because they don't have a lot of UFC experience? How do you avoid that trap, man?
Yeah, there's especially from that last card in the weekend, a lot of underdogs, took out the favorites. So I won't be overlooking my opponent. He's slick on the ground, and he's come from a good promotion prior to the UFC and LFA. So we've been doing our homework, and we'll be ready. But I feel like my experience is what's going to be the difference in this fight. I've had over 30 professional fights now. I've fought in the Ultimate Fighter, pretty much the same situation that we'll be fighting in an empty stadium. An empty studio, sorry. So it's all these fights and experiences in my career that I think will definitely get me through this fight. So I'm not gonna overlook him, but I'm not gonna at the end of the day, it's just another fight for me. So I just got to keep racking up the wins. I'm ranked number 7 now in the Flyweight Division. So I'm not too far off from that top 5, so just got to keep taking them out and keep climbing the rankings.
Of course, a dominant performance by the new champ Davidson Figueiredo at 125. Cody Garbrandt, big name at 135, former champ there, coming down to fight for the belt. There's more security now at 125 with a dominant champion, big name coming down to fight him 125. People always talk about whether or not it's going to stick around or whether it goes away. Do you feel better with those big names in the division?
Yeah, definitely. I heard a lot of people talking, saying that Cody's leapfrogged the division and just been given a title shot, not even made flyweight yet. But I don't actually mind too much. It's going to put a lot of eyes on our division, and that's what we need. And the next guys will get their shot. Probably it'll be either Moreno or Perez, but I think it's going to be a good fight. I don't think it's a good move for Cody. If you look on the blueprint of guys cutting down a weight class, what happened to TJ, Cody doesn't really have a chin anymore, and if he's cutting more weight, I feel like it's just going to make it even worse. So, and and Figueroa is a beast. He's definitely shown that he's championship material. But these both guys, I would love to fight. As soon as I heard Cody wanted to cut down to flyweight, I was calling him out on Twitter saying, if you want to come down, I'll be your welcome fight. So it didn't happen, but I would love to fight any of those guys, anyone in the top five, but especially those bigger names. You got to take out the best to be the best. So that's what I'm willing to do. After I get past Brandon, obviously not looking past him, but once I get my hands raised, I want to finish this year off the right way and take out a top five contender and really make a claim for that flyweight UFC title.
Now, speaking of the best, there are 8 weight classes in the men's division of MMA in the UFC. All right. 25% of them are controlled by City Kickboxing. Of course, you have 2 champs, Volkanovski and Adesanya. What does that do for your confidence? You talk about living with them, training with them every single day. Probably the smallest guy in the gym. You got to hang with the best. What does that do for your confidence, man?
Yeah, it's definitely an atmosphere that, creates success. And the glue that puts it all together is definitely our head coach, Eugene Behrman. He's the reason why, everyone's doing so well. And it's just a contagious feeling, you get up, you go downstairs, especially living at the gym. There's no way you can't get better. And that constant progression and always in the gym, we don't really take time off. We know that this, window, shelf life of fighting, you got to be all in to get to where you want to be. So we know that. We know what's expected of us, and our coaches give us back the same energy. So having teammates like Dan and Dan Hooker, Israel, Alex, there's no time to slack. You just want to soak in as much knowledge from them as you can. And come fight night or fight week, it gives you so much confidence knowing that what you've just come through, your 10-week fight camp, you're holding your own against, the best in the world. And the next guy, you feel bad for him, but just because you've gone through so much and you're prepared so well. So come fight night, there's not much pressure because the caliber of training that we have at our gym is second to none. And it's been good. Not many people knew about us back in, a few years ago. We were kind of the dark sheep, the dark horse, but now people are starting to realize, we're doing something. What are they doing down at the gym? It's kind of nice being in New Zealand when we're so far away from it all, but people are definitely starting to catch on now.
What has that fame been like? What I was thinking is almost like a band, like the Beatles. Like you were nobody, playing in pubs, and then suddenly you're famous. Your gym got huge, kind of all at once. Was it a one-shot thing? Were you suddenly big? Or was it a slow build? And how does everybody handle that in the gym?
Yeah, it's something that we've always known for a few years, that it's all going to come at once. Once we get our break, it's all going to be flooded in. The cameras are going to be there, but Eugene, he's been doing this for the last 20 years. Every day he's been coming to the gym and stuck to the same system. It's just now people are starting to realize, and since the cameras are here, that he's getting more notice. But he's in the gym constantly, and he's watching tape of fighters and always evolving our system at our gym. And it's one of these things where you're so present in the moment that you don't really notice it. But this circle is definitely there's so many guys you don't even know about at our gym that are going to be in the UFC eventually. We're just the tip of the iceberg of the talent that we have at City Kickboxing. But it's awesome to see in New Zealand and Australia how mainstream MMA and the UFC is getting. Since it's such rugby driven sport, and especially in New Zealand, that's our national sport. But now, since this is the only sport happening in the world right now that's continuing, it's awesome to get the eyes that don't usually watch fighting taking notice, and they're really getting behind us, and especially for this next fight, such a massive event for New Zealand, having four Kiwis on the card. We definitely are excited for this one because it's just been so long, and we could fight next week if we have to. We're that prepared, and we're that just ready to get in there. So we've got another 4 weeks just to tighten a few things up, go over the game plan a bit more. But we can't wait to get in there.
Now, let's pretend he's not sleeping in the room next to you. I can't wait to hear your prediction. Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa had some choice words for Izzy. Izzy hasn't been shy on his end. What's your prediction for that fight when they show down?
Well, it's going to be the classic case of power versus precision. Costa's been talking about how he's going to break Izzy and how he's too skinny, and how he's just going to try run and eventually he'll catch him. But this is what Izzy loves. He hasn't seen this. It's not a style he hasn't seen before. So many big guys try to take his head off, but he's too slick. He's too quick. He'll catch you eventually. He wants you to come forward. He wants you to think that you have him, and then Israel will put you away. So I only see this going one way, and that's by vicious knockout. I welcome Costa to bring his best game and to try to take his head off, but it's not going to end that way. This will be, Israel's had over 100 kickboxing and MMA fights, combined. So this is just another day for him. There's nothing new that he hasn't seen before. I saw that Henry Cejudo's in Brazil helping Paulo Costa prepare for Izzy, and he was my coach on The Ultimate Fighter. But even with his expertise and his coaching, it's not going to help. It's not going to help him. He's going to try, bully him, push him against the cage, but Israel will find a way to get out, and he'll put him away. So I'm predicting second round knockout, and I'll put the house on it.
Kai, of course, you got to back your boy. I really appreciate that. Best of luck in your fight. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Awesome. Cheers for having me, bro.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.